out the window, always returning to sit on her eggs.
Well, she's going to have to find something else to strain her pasta. As we reported at the top of the show, an eaglet had to be rescued after getting stuck in its nest at the National Arboretum. An expert climbed up the tree, took the young bird to the vet to be checked out. It was just fine. The eaglet was returned back to the nest just a few moments ago. The eagle's nest live streamed online. That's how we found out about it. You can find a link to it on the free WUSA9 app.
The Caps are back in action tonight. They call it Game 5 against Toronto. Coming up in sports, we're going to take the pulse of the fans.
And right after the break, North Korea, Obamacare, and a looming government shutdown. We're going to talk live with Face the Nation host John Dickerson about President Trump's agenda.
Let's talk consumer news now. $2.8 billion. That's how much a judge in Detroit has ordered Volkswagen to pay in the United States for cheating on those diesel emissions tests. 6 weeks ago, VW said, yep, we did it. The German automaker does admit that nearly 600,000 cars in the United States were programmed to turn on their pollution controls during the testing and off while on the road. Can't do that. Headphone maker Bose says it will fight allegations that its app tracks users' habits and shares it with a third party. A class action lawsuit claims the company collected information on what audio or music their customers listened to and then shared it with a data miner. Well, Bose vigorously denies wiretapping its customers. The women's clothing retailer BB is going out of business. The company is going to close all 180 of its stores across the country by the end of May, and that includes those locations at Montgomery Mall in Maryland and several other stores in suburban Virginia. Future plans for the company are uncertain. Bloomberg reports that BB could move its sales online.
Next week will mark President Trump's 100th day in office. Tonight, the president's supporters and critics are talking about what he has and has not accomplished. Joining us now, Face the Nation host John Dickerson. First up, John, he's got to come up with some way with Congress to fund the government until the end of the fiscal year. How are they going to pull that off?
That's right. The April 28th deadline is coming. If the Republicans and Democrats, in this case, Democrats have a role to play here because while they're not in power in the Senate, any funding measure would need 60 votes. So that means Republicans need 8 Democrats. So there's a lot of debate. The president wants funding for his border wall and for the increased defense spending. Democrats don't want to pay for that wall, and they also would like to make sure there are guarantees about keeping subsidies for those who are on Obamacare. So this fighting is going on. The question is whether, A, they can resolve it by the deadline of the 28th. That seems unlikely. But then, B, will they be able to agree to have basically a stopgap funding measure that will basically fund government at the current levels for a little while until these things can get worked out, that sort of takes the pressure of a shutdown off of everybody? Yeah, it seems like every year now we're talking about the threat of a shutdown. Of course, that affects a lot of people here in the D.C. area. Let's talk about the next legislative priorities for the president. Heard him talking about tax reform. He was there at the Treasury Department today. Yes, tax reform. I mean, you know, the president, when the American Health Care Act was not able to pass Congress, the replacement for Obamacare, the president said, well, we're going to move on to tax reform, as if that were going to be any easier. Tax reform is a very complicated issue with lots of lobbyists hovering around trying to influence the legislation. So this is, you know, another highly complicated piece of legislation that the president will go for, and there's also a last-minute attempt to try to get something done on the replacement for the Affordable Care Act. So it's an attempt to really deliver on the promises that he made about the big things he was going to try to do. But he's learning how complicated it can be to get things through Congress, even when you're in the majority. So that's kind of come out of nowhere. John, we're talking about resurrecting the death of Obamacare. Is this something that we will likely see discussion about over the next couple of weeks? We'll see discussion. The problem is that the Republicans haven't quite I mean, they can't get a majority of the Republicans in the House to all agree on the same replacement for Obamacare. You've got some that want to replace it just entirely. But others who want to keep portions of it. And that's what the debate has been all along here. And then, of course, you've got the difference between the House and the Senate, the House being more conservative than the Senate, even though the threshold for this would be lower, just a simple majority in the Senate, not the 60 votes that you would normally have. So until that gets resolved, until everybody can agree on how much of Obamacare to keep around in this replacement, there's probably not going to be an agreement. And so this latest effort sort of looks like it's likely to go that same way that the previous several ones have gone. Yeah, big chess match, a lot of moving parts. Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly among your guests this weekend. It's supposed to be a rainy morning. I'll be spending it with you, as will many others. 10:30 Sunday morning here on WUSA 9. John Dickerson. Thanks, bud. Thank you.
Now, WUSA 9's First Alert Weather, rated DC's most accurate forecast.
I want to thank everybody for the pictures. I mean, this is great, and we have videos and pictures, a lot from Montgomery County. This is from Kensington. Daniel sent this in, and that's almost looks like a flower, doesn't it? Well, check out the hail. It covered a lot of his yard, pea size to marble size to almost mothball size, he said. Worst hail he's seen in 20 years in Montgomery County, and again, that's around Kensington. And let me show you a live look outside. It's quite pleasant behind the storms. It's our live Michael and Son weather cam. It's actually cleared up again. 79 downtown. Wind still east-southeasterly at about 10. Now, we're not quite done with the storms yet. I think we'll be done with the severe weather by about 6 o'clock. These are the storms that are now exiting portions of the metro area. Leaving portions of the metro area. And still some stragglers behind, but those are not exactly severe storms. They're just heavy storms. We'll concentrate on the one that has the warning. And no surprise here, they just keep extending this warning now until 6:30 Anne Arundel County, Calvert County, Prince George's County. So this is about to move across into the bay. In this little box, that is where the warning is affected. And I tell you what, this is primarily because of hail. There's a little bit of wind with it, but this is primarily what we call a hailer in terms of the storm. Heavy rain down 258 toward Deal and toward Shady Side. And again, everything moving off to the east at about 30 miles an hour. So this is going to clear out Fairhaven pretty quickly, 555, and North Beach shortly after 6 o'clock. Then it will be in the bay. Now, that said, there's a couple of storms behind it in Prince George's County and also back toward Goldvein and Stafford on the west side of I-95. Everything's still moving east. So this one's going to produce some heavy rain as it heads toward Nanjemoy at about 6:06 on our storm tracker. But I really feel the threat of severe weather will be done by about 6 o'clock in the metro area. Check out the hail. It's now extending almost all the way to the bay to Deal. Certainly just west of 301, they had hail 2 to 3 inches in diameter. And I'll widen this out. That's the hail track. That is very, very impressive for us. From Rockville to Potomac, all the way through upper Northwest, all the way into Prince George's County, now crossing over 301. You do not see that too often here in the metro area. And I highlighted this one. This right there, 3.5 inches around 202 and 2.9 inches Brown Station Road. So hopefully folks got their cars in their carports or in a garage or somewhere, because that will do damage to your car. All right, early thunderstorm tonight, then a late shower, but really a pretty nice evening in between. Saturday, showers or light rain, not a washout. It's going to feel like March. Saturday night, best chance for heavy rain. And then Sunday, showers mainly in the morning, but again, not a washout, but still rather cool. So on the day planner, 50s across the board, 59 by 1 o'clock. Yellow weather alert tomorrow, yellow weather alert Sunday. We'll dry out Sunday, though, mainly morning showers, 61, 62 on Monday, some more showers. Tuesday, some more showers, and then near 70. Then we're back in the 80s Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Nat's back in town next Friday, 85 for a temp.
Now, WUSA 9 Game on Sports, brought to you by Xfinity.
So it's a big game for the Caps tonight. Win, and they're on the brink of advancing to the second round. Lose, and the season could end as early as Sunday.
But we're seeing the glass half full.
You know it.
The players are confident, but what about the fans? Our Frank Henriette is live outside Verizon Center with the pulse of Caps Nation. Hey, Frank.
Hey, Leslie. Hey, Adam. All right, Caps fans, how are we feeling about tonight's game?
Feeling good, feeling good. Caps #1. Sorry, Toronto Caps in 6.
All right, so this is a huge game, game number 5. What is the key tonight to beating Toronto?
Hustle, blue-collar hockey. I mean, we got to dump it in, dump the puck in, get it around, work it up top. That's all we need.
Let me ask you this about the my man in the mask, about the curse of the Capitals. I mean, do you feel like that there is this history that kind of weighs on the Caps' shoulders, or is this the year we're going to finally get that off?
Ultimately, weighing on our shoulders is Stanley Cup this year, buddy.
Oh!
Let's go, Stanley Cup. Caps in 6.
All right, before I let you guys go, I want to hear a "Let's Go Caps" like 5 times. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Let's go, Caps! Let's go, Caps! Let's go, Caps! Let's go, Caps!
All right, guys, they are fired up. Let's see what shakes down at 7 o'clock. It is Game 5, Caps and Toronto here at Verizon Center. We're live in Chinatown. Frank Henriette, WUSA 9 Sports. I'll send it back to you.
They are powered with liquid enthusiasm, aren't they?
They are. Let's keep it going. Thanks, Frank.
Yes.
All right, coming up new at 6, University of Maryland students fight back against pro-deportation messages written in chalk in front of the student union.
But up next, meet a 5-year-old boy who ended up at the White House and in the national spotlight on Easter Monday.
And then at 6:30 on the CBS Evening News with Scott Pelley, how a young boy with no hands became the hero of his local basketball team.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I got it. Thank you, Doc. Appreciate you.
Okay, listen, you hear me? Okay, so I'm at the key, I hope. Perfect. Okay, can I do graphics first and finish on the hail? Thank you.
Emily, tonight at 6, I'm going to lose my mind. Yep.
Area as well in this neighborhood.